Carolyn, what's the phrase that goes along with that? The hand motion you just did.
And scene.
There, that's it. And scene. Thank you.
What was it? I missed it. Okay. We're recording. Start. Begin.
All right. Hello and welcome everyone to the August 13th meeting of the Kubernetes-SIG service catalog. If you would like to follow along and take a look at our agenda, I just pasted it into our group chat. I'm just going to walk through what we have on here so far. If there's something that you'd like to talk about that isn't on here, feel free to just tack it on to the end. Otherwise, Morgan, the first thing on the agenda is you giving people secret launch codes.
So that we
can get into Zoom when you're busy.
Yeah, sorry, I was distracted. I was just, somebody was telling me there were rats chewing on their car. Anyway, about this, this is an account that I got from Paul, and I don't know if, I'll share it. I'd like to get either clearance from Paul or, an okay that these are the chair's codes or whatever, because I don't want to accidentally expose something.
Okay. You know what? Let me work with Paul then and get that figured out.
Okay.
I don't think he's on today, but
I believe that's on my issue that I made.
Yeah, I'll hunt him down and get that. I wasn't sure who had it all, so that's cool.
Yeah, he gave it to me through LastPass, so I will edit that.
There we go.
All right, so that's that.
Great. Jeremy, would you like to talk about moving to Kubernetes-SIGs?
Yeah, sure. So last week, Aaron Krickenberger, is that right? Came in to ask if we were going to move to Kubernetes-SIGs. And I think this is like the second time, or at least not the first time, that this has been discussed. He said that it's not written down and official yet, but it probably will be soon. So I guess the first question is does anybody have any reservations about us starting that process?
No, it's just, can someone just document all the steps we need to do all the things, like how to join the right GitHub org and all that other good stuff? Yep,
that's step one, I think. Figure out all the things that needed to happen in terms of people joining, but also like how does the repo move, how do redirects happen so that if people are vendoring our stuff works correctly. We'll probably need to update all of the Tide and Prow stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, and any integrations like
GitHub stuff.
Travis, GitHub, Netlify, stuff like that, yeah. Maybe we should make a big list.
So I figure we should make a tracking issue just so we know like when we have everything done, and we can kind of do like what Morgan did with his moved Prow, where it's got a bunch of checkboxes in it, and we can walk through them as things are done, add to it as needed.
It'd be nice if we could do a single email for the service catalog maintainers for getting IDs or getting approval in kubesig.
Yeah. I'll ask if that's possible. I did ask if we could just do a bulk. Nobody answered me. But
right, I saw that. Yep.
I'll email them and ask the same question. Because I tried to get myself added to Kubernetes, and Kubernetes-SIGs in one email, and they made me send a second email for the Kubernetes-SIGs, which is kind of annoying.
To be clear, though, I was able to just say, I'm an existing person and we're moving, so I didn't have to justify with a whole bunch of issues or links or anything.
Yeah, I didn't have to for the second one.
Yeah, just say what your role is. Like, you're a maintainer, you're a member, whatever.
Is it documented where we're supposed to send this note to and all the other good stuff?
Yeah, it's the same thing you get for any other Kubernetes group. So it's like the Kubernetes community. Hold on, let's see if I can find it.
FYI, they're changing that process, so.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know. Wouldn't want anything to stay the same ever.
Of course not.
Anyway,
Yeah,
Jeremy,
that's a
can
great idea. We
I
can
love
document
checklists.
on our
So
site.
yeah, Jeremy, can you just send out notes telling us what to do? Because I assume
Yep.
we're stupid.
Yeah.
Thank
I'll make a how-to for everybody.
Thank you very much.
put it on the checklist.
Yep.
Okay.
That's a good action item.
Yeah. I just want to caution that in general with the kubernetes-sigs, let's make sure that when we move over, it's at our own pace and not.
Yeah.
I know they're interested in doing this, but the lack of guidance means
Mhm.
that like it's pretty likely that when we switch over, it'll break stuff for a little bit.
Yeah.
And we'll need to have people on hand to kind of like go back and forth and get stuff fixed, but we can do our best to plan it out.
Yeah, I think it's better if we start now, though, so that we don't get forced into the, like, this has to be done next week.
Yeah. I'm just saying it doesn't need to be done next week or
Right.
whatever right now. So yeah.
Let's do it Friday.
After 5 too, please.
Ship it.
Yeah. Jeremy, you're up next.
Okay, so this
this
one,
morning.
go ahead and click that issue. So in the comments on this issue, there was some discussion about whether we were going to move away from named arguments towards positional arguments. And Carolyn and Jay don't remember there being a discussion at the face-to-face, and Jonathan said there was. So we felt like the best course of action was to come back and discuss it here again, just to get a final resolution, and then we can include it in the meeting notes here, just so there's a firm document to go refer back to.
I can speak to that if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so the gist of it is we are trying to determine how to best use positional arguments and flags in svcat. So for positional arguments, that would be, say, if you say svcat foo and bar, where like foo are, the information you're supplying to svcat. A flag would be something when you say like svcat foo -- class bar. So that -- is the flag. Currently, svcat supports mandatory flags. So for instance, when you provision a class, I believe the current behavior is you have to say svcat provision class name svcat provision instance name -- class name -- plan name. I would like to put forth a proposal to remove mandatory flags and switch those to positional arguments. So instead of having to throw that -- class and -- name, you would just say svcat provision instance name, class name, plan name, and that you would always have to specify those arguments in that exact order. And my reasoning behind this is that mandatory flags don't they go against Unix command line convention, and I would like for our tool to fit in with other Unix command line tools.
If I share my screen, I think it may help to show some of this.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Cool. So I brought up just like a scratch pad to kind of show about this. Can you see some of the commands?
My understanding is that Unix command line things in general don't. If flags are for optional things, arguments are for mandatory things.
I had trouble finding that. I just wanted to. You were verbalizing commands. I just wanted to type them so people could see them.
I'm sorry. I was responding to Doug's comment. Now I'm realizing Doug was making a joke. So.
SIG provision name, class.
It's okay. He's not very funny.
Plan. Okay. So this is how svcat works today. When there are positional arguments, there's just one, and it's the name. The reason why I originally went down that path is that that's how kubectl works. So for example, kubectl run, its name and image is actually a required flag. And then the other reason why I went down that path is because as you add more things beyond just one or two, it becomes a little harder to understand what is the right order every time. So for example, let's say you want to be able to, oh wow, there's a bunch of chat. Sorry guys, I can't see chat while I'm sharing. One sec. There's just a bunch of hands going up, or?
No, not yet.
Ron is not the example I want to use.
One is a terrible command and it should not exist.
Well, aside from that, I don't think you should use Kubernetes as a good Linux example of a command line. Because,
I'm not trying to use it as an example.
Okay.
I'm trying to explain where the precedent for svcat came to begin with.
okay.
So when I made svcat, that was the reasoning behind it. So let's say that we had, so that's where that was like the example, like background on why. This is what like, I was just trying to get at. So if I type in this, say when I'm able to create a plan, which is something that is in the works down our pipeline, if we don't have required flags, it would look like this versus svcat, create plan, name, class, you know, like this. Just put in flags for everything. And then one other thing I just want to point out is how the svcat help looks. Wait a second. There we go. I'll make that a lot bigger. So with flags, we're given a place to put in extra information, and anything that's required gets flagged as required or something like that. But for positional arguments, we basically just have usage or this description fields, but we don't have like a nice defined place to put it. I'm explaining like that's why I went down the path I did, and I'm concerned that if we add things more interesting than what with the issue in question, svcat, is it register? And then we have like name, URL,
Yeah.
versus, let me know if I'm getting this wrong, it's just off of my top of my head. Like this is the one in question. Like this, it's not that is worries me so much as like this one. Remembering like the order of these things is more are required. I mean, honestly, I would imagine people may fall back to YAML at this point, but I'd just like to be consistent with it. So there you go. I just want to type up what we were all talking about so people can see it and then discuss from there. Doug.
Yeah, I just want to sort of plus one what Jonathan is saying. I find the use of flags for required arguments very, very weird. I'd never really seen that before I came to Kubernetes, and I don't think it's normal for Unix/Linux type of commands. In fact, it's really like odd as you were typing, or as you were talking here, Kellan, I was actually looking at the man pages for all the various commands I could think of offhand, and not that many actually have required parameters or required arguments, which is kind of funny. But the ones that I did come across, they all follow that pattern of, you know, it's a required parameter. There isn't a flag necessary to put in front of it. Positional things seem to be just fine for people. I don't see the value in requiring flags to be in front of things. It's just extra typing and extra noise, to be perfectly honest.
I have one question right after Jonathan too, so I'll put up my hand.
All right, I was just gonna say, what's the most complex Unix command you can think of? Like, what's the most required number of, the largest number of required arguments?
I'm having a really hard time finding ones that require more than one.
The thing to worry about is 4, and like, that doesn't sound too bad. But on the other hand, I can't think of a Unix command off the top of my head that has 4 required arguments.
Right. Now, I mean, for history, you can look at Docker. Docker does not require flags. Granted, that's relatively new, so it's not necessarily like Linux command, but they went more Linuxy in my opinion.
Oops. Coughing fit. Give me a sec.
I don't know if both is necessarily. That sounds like the worst possible decision.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so it sounds like a couple things. I think because we've gone back and forth on this, and at least 2 of us got confused and didn't realize there was an official vote or whatever going on at the face-to-face. Is everyone cool just doing a vote on like the mailing list so people can weigh in and then we can just be done? Because like right now we don't actually have everyone either here too. And is that cool?
Makes sense.
Just because I don't want to talk about it anymore. I apologize. I'm not going to change my mind, but I'm happy to go with whatever people vote for. That's
Just so you know, I think if you look at Zip, that's the one that I found so far that actually has more than one positional thing. Granted, they're optional positional, but they're still positional.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zip's more of a Windows thing, though.
Jonathan?
So I would propose that regardless of what the outcome of the vote is, we be consistent. So were flags to win, would you be amenable for that option to be svcat register -- name -- URL? Because it seems confusing to me to have some things be one way and other things be another.
You're saying all...
Everything should be a flag or nothing should be a flag.
Oh gosh, now we're getting into multi-optional votes.
Well, but I think Jonathan raised a good point, right? Why take lines 7 and 8 as an example, and this is something that really confused me when I came across group control. Why have some things require a flag but not other things? Why is name special?
Well, I didn't invent kubectl. So
No, I know, but I'm not necessarily asking you personally.
Oh, okay.
I was just asking in general. It's a very inconsistent rule to me, and that's one of the reasons that kind of bothered me when I first came across group control. It's like, as I think maybe it was Jeremy in there said, group control is kind of both. It's like, well, that's either the best or worst of both worlds, depending which way you look at it, right?
Sure. So it sounds like we're not going to get to consensus here, but is everyone okay with doing an up-down vote on the current style guide, which is it matches kubectl? For better or for worse, that was like what svcat was made to do, especially because of its plugin.
I do think it's hard to explain line 1 versus line 8, and if we're creating new commands, what's the format?
Well, I was
line 8, we would retroactively, I believe, change everything to match, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess my bad.
Okay, so like this is what it does today, right? Sorry, today. This is what it looks like. And if after we vote and we decide that we want to not have required, it would turn to svcat provision name class plan like that. Similarly, like this one would change to this. So I was just hoping we could do an up-down vote of like either keep it similar to the kubectl experience with the idea that, I don't know, that's what we do today, or vote for no required flags whatsoever. Is that cool if I put that to a vote? And like
the problem is, when you say keep it similar to the kubectl experience, I don't know what that means because kubectl seems to be random.
Okay, keep it similar to how svcat works today, which is there are no positional arguments where the order matters, as in there's 0 or 1 positional arguments, and it's the name. I don't want to justify it. I want to say, do we want to keep what we have, or do we want to switch to the other?
I'm fine with those two options.
That's just those are the two options people are fighting for, I guess. I'd like to keep it the way we have it. Jonathan is saying to switch it to...
No, and I think, I think that's fine. I would just prefer you phrase it as keep what we have today versus go with Johnson's proposal, as opposed to trying to correlate it to kube control, because if you do that, I'm going to ask you to explain kube control, and no one can.
So this is what would be up for vote.
Low.
Today, or switch to no required flags. Okay, cool. I will put that out there, and I don't think we can do a lazy, but we need just make sure I got the rules right because it's still kind of new, our charter. Just whoever votes in the span of a week, the majority wins. Is that appropriate?
Yeah, I need to make a update, or at least PR for that. But I don't see any reason why it needs to be that long, but whatever. Yeah, I don't care.
Mostly, I don't like it to do it super short in case somebody's out for a reasonable period of time and then votes happen without them. That's all. Unless this is a
Joshua.
really important thing to do quickly.
This kind of raises the issue. We really ought to. Well, I for one think it would be nice if we got a better voting system in place, something that's not email based. But no reason to hold this up for that.
Do you maybe want to do some suggestions and show it to people at one of the next?
Me and my big fat mouth, right?
No good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah, I know. I'll make an effort at it.
Okay. Cool. I will do that. 1 second. So let me just type this up here. Vote on keep what we do today versus no required flags.
And I'm gonna unjigger my pull request just so that this isn't holding that up.
Okay. 1 week to decide by simple majority. So Friday. I will do that. Jay.
Yeah, your screen is still on the scratch pad. I think this was about the feature gates.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a pull request enabling originating identity to be on by default, and I was creating a doc page, and I have in the agenda a link to the Kubernetes doc page on feature gates, and I thought it was a good one. I started pulling over and using it for service catalog, documenting our current features, putting the tables in that indicate when we added the flag, that kind of thing. So there's some nice layout here. They basically talk about 3 types of feature gates: alpha, beta, or if it's GA. I don't know if we want to talk about alpha and beta because we really haven't been following anything with, in general, they want to see flags go from alpha to beta to GA, and several releases expire between the settings. It doesn't indicate any requirement for 2 releases or 6 months or anything like that. And I don't know that we need to, but I was just trying to put some wording around this, and I thought this was a good start. Maybe it doesn't matter. I can put what they listen upstream, but I kind of wondered if we just want to go with a alpha or beta and a GA flag versus alpha, beta, GA. Does that make any sense?
I'm a little confused. I apologize.
No, that's fine. So they list that flags are generally, they're put in an alpha state. And then they describe out what alpha is. It's experimental, that kind of thing. And beta, they say it should be safe to turn on in a production cluster, but,
Okay.
read about it. And then GA is, generally you see the flags go from false, the default being false, and then by the time you hit GA, the flag is redefined to be true.
Okay.
And I thought that made sense. I don't know if we want to document alpha and beta in GA, or maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe I'm overthinking this.
Oh.
When does the flag go away?
No, but they define that there's, different criteria for each of them, basically around stability and maturity.
Just the features, not the flags, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, it may not even be a flag anymore, but it's a feature that's always on. Do I have that right?
That's right. And I think in general they hang on to I could be wrong on this. I was going to say in general they hang on to the flag and the default changes to enabled. But I know that's not entirely true because we've seen some feature flags disappear.
Yeah. I'd love to have a table like this, and then we can just rip off their whole page and put it on ours.
Yep, that's what I started doing in the PR I've got. So anyway, I guess I'll just put it out there and we'll deal with it as we go through review.
Yeah. Did you open that PR already? I just missed it.
No, it's sitting here. I'm trying to resolve one thing. I've got some unit tests started exploding once I said originating identity was defaulted to true. Anyone know if it seems to me the context should be required, the user context. And we've got unit tests that have nil set for the context. And as soon as you start saying originating identity is on, it wants to populate the context with the or it wants to pull out the user from the context, and if the context is nil, it just blows up.
I think in a real world scenario, it does fill it in. I think it's only during the unit test that might be null. At least that's been my experience in the past when I was debugging something.
Okay, thanks, Doug. So it's really simple to add the context to the unit test, but then I got concerned from some of the comments, and I'll have to go back through it a little more carefully. One or two comments indicated that if the user didn't specifically set who they were, but that didn't. I'll spend a little more time with it and get some advice if I need to. Thanks.
Sure. I think Doug's right on that. It's just our unit tests are lazy.
Cool. That's great. I'll go with that approach, and I'll call it out in the PR for reviews. But we'll go that way until it's set up wrong otherwise. Thank you.
Cool. All righty. Jeremy had to leave, so maybe next time he said he's going to record a demo for us of using namespace broker resources in addition to catalog restrictions to kind of show off some stuff that we've had asked for from our own customers to show how it works. And so he was going to demo that for them and figured he'd demo that for us too. Are people interested in that?
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay,
Yep,
cool.
definitely. Yep.
And I think, Carolyn, it sounded like he already recorded it, which is great, and he was just going to give us a quick run of it.
He hasn't recorded it yet, no.
Ah, all right.
Yeah. Well, that is it, unless anyone else has something they'd love to bring up. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.